Welcome back to Grow Your Impact, Income, and Influence, the #1 show helping you reach millions in your bank account, millions of people, millions of views, whatever you are looking for. We are here to help you reach your goals. And today I have somebody that takes super complex marketing things that give us all headaches and makes them really, really simple. If you ever have a hard time with marketing and it is holding you up, if you feel like it's a bottleneck or you are constantly grasping at shiny objects or squirrels, today is the episode for you. Ellie, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. You look amazing. You sound amazing. And,
Thank you.
I have to tell you, I'm excited to talk to you because I'm really big on clarity. Any of you who can see this video, you guys know that I have these clarity hats that I give out to everybody because it's a huge theme for me. And you take really complex things and you make them crystal clear and easy to implement. Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So that was my struggle when I started into this entrepreneurship journey. I didn't know anything about marketing. And everything seemed very, very complex. But once I actually figured out like the basic pieces of this marketing puzzle, I've realized it's not as complex as a lot of people make it out to be. And my mission has been since then to make it as simple as possible for anybody else who wants to venture into online marketing, to grow their business, to sell their stuff.
Awesome. So, obviously nobody starts off being a rock star digital marketer or knowing everything or even knowing like a tenth of everything, right? So take us back. Where did all of this start for you? You kind of have a fun story with your husband. I'll let you pick it up wherever you want.
Absolutely. So my husband and I were running an agency, web design development company. And at the beginning, when we both jumped ship and left our full-time jobs, it was such an exciting adventure, right? Like, yeah, we're running our business. But very quickly, it turned out to be just like constant feast and famine cycle. Neither of us knew how to market. We were great at what we were doing, but we didn't know how to market our business. And what the little that we knew was just all like old fashioned, like old marketing type of things, like show up in networking events, getting referrals or, filling out proposals, things like that. So we both would be like hustling, trying to get projects in. And then once projects came in, we'd just be head down working on projects. And then we'll turn around as the projects are ending and thinking, oh my God, there's nothing in our pipeline. So that was our life for a long time. And I tell you, like every month we talked about we should pack it up and go back get jobs, which was really, really depressing to do. So
Hang on, I have to like say something there because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, even people who are successful, have that conversation sometimes because it's like, man, I gave up a 40-hour-a-week job to work 80 hours a week, and I'm never sure if there's money coming in. I know, like, I hear a lot of entry-level entrepreneurs, even people who are like, I had a 10K month, I had a 20K month. Yeah, but then you didn't do anything for 3 months after that because you're so busy fulfilling. Exactly. And I feel like this is you're shining a light on something that is really powerful because I think a lot of people struggle with that and they feel shame and guilt around that. So first off, thank you so much for sharing. Now let's go back to the story. How did you solve that problem? That is a huge challenge and I love it.
So for me at a time, I had been hearing about online courses. It was like back in 2012 where online courses were not a lot of people were doing it. And there were all this buzz around online course creation. And I thought, you know what, that would be wonderful if I could just package our expertise into an online course. So that's how my adventure into online marketing started. And when we started, obviously I didn't know any marketing and we struggled, right? I wish I could tell you like we put our first course out there and it was, roses and rainbows, money started flowing, but that wasn't the case. 4 years of constant struggle. But by the time, after 4 years of trying to figure out how to sell our courses on a consistent basis, I also realized that I love marketing. I fell in love with it. So that's how my coaching business started.
That's awesome. Well, first off, after 4 years, was it like you hit a magic hockey stick? Did you guys transition? What kind of happened after 4 years?
See, I'm glad you're touching on that, because a lot of people think like you snap your finger and one day like you have this post that goes viral, or this thing that like magic formula you find that it really is not like that. As much as a lot of people in my industry, a lot of gurus like to make it sound like that. No, it's to me, marketing is all about trying something, putting it out there, analyzing it, tweaking, based on what worked and what didn't work, put it out there, analyze it, and just keep going through it until you get to a place where, like, okay, I have a system that's working. Now all the pieces are making sense to you. So yeah,
That's,
no, it
I
was
mean,
like 4 years of constant, like trial and error.
well, that's so I know we're taking a little bit of a break, but this is something that is great to talk about. I think so many of quote gurus say, do this and you'll be a millionaire overnight. Do this and you'll make this and blah, blah, blah. But it's like entrepreneurship, one, is a marathon and not a sprint.
Yeah.
And two, it is a never ending process. The real thing of loving entrepreneurship is exactly what you said: putting something together, creating something, looking for how people interact with it, and then tweaking it to make it better, right? If you look at, I don't care whether you're a product person, if you look at Steve Jobs and like the iPhone or the iPod, let's go back to iPod, right? He put out this huge clunky thing that fixed a problem. Then he refined it. Then they came out with the iPod Touch. Then they came out with the iPod Mini. Then they came out with the iPhone. Like it was a never ending process, and they're still always refining that process. Then you look at digital courses, right? You can put out a course 2 years ago that was the end all be all when it came to X thing, but that changes over time. It's not a one and done. Sometimes you do get lucky and you have that post that goes viral or that video or whatever, but it is really a game of showing up every day and loving showing up because you love showing up. Because let's be real, like if you just want 200K a year, go get a job. Like if you put 5 years into that, you will get there. The same 4 to 5 year mark. It's really interesting. I've had this conversation a lot. I would love your thoughts because you've seen a lot. Usually, if you can stick with the game for 4 to 5 years, that's about where you're really going to hit traction and really start to have a solid, dependable business. That first like 3 to 5 years can be hard, but so is college. College is 3 to 5 years of a complete waste, if you ask me, right? It's the same here. Like it's not something that you're magically going to skyrocket, but it is something that if you stick with will work. What is your experience in people that you've worked with? And I mean, if you started in 2010, 2011, you've seen a lot of people come and go between now and then.
Oh, absolutely. And that is, I mean, you touched on something that number one is one of my like spots that when I work with people, I try my best to educate them on this. Like, don't expect that even if you have all the pieces to this marketing, that it's going to work immediately. You have to expect that you're going to put something out there and you have to like work at it for years before you get there. But unfortunately, yes, like you touched on earlier, that's been my experience as well. That 80-20 rule, 80% of people really think that it is like snap your finger. It doesn't take that much work, and they do disappear. They start all excited, and then as soon as they realize, you know what, it's a lot more work than I anticipated, they drop off, they disappear. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like everybody gets real excited. It's funny. I had one of my old bosses from a long time ago reach out, and they were like, I'm doing it. Like they had seen some Facebook post I made or something. I'm doing it. I'm leaving my job. I'm going to be just like you. And I was like, okay. 3 months later, they were back like, hey, do you know anyone who's looking for like their networking, trying to find a job, which honestly, I think was a better fit for them. They weren't, they're anyway, it is really interesting because it is exciting. Like you have that excitement in the beginning. One of my favorite quotes is commitment doesn't care how you feel, because it's really easy to make a decision based on an emotion at the beginning. I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to do this. Well, cool. You're going to be your own boss and you're probably going to make like 30 grand. So how do you feel about that? And when you tell people, they're like, no, that is literally what I say to people. I have most of my conversations, most of my clients are people who are doing $1 million plus. That's who I work with. But the people that come to me that are lower and they're like, yeah, just tell me what to do. I'll make it happen. I'm like, okay, so you're going to do this and you're going to make $30,000. How does that feel? Well, I'm going to Gary V it. I'm going to overcommit. I'm going to grind it out. I'm like, you're not a fit. I wish you all the best.
Exactly.
Anyway, back to so you reach 4 years. You realize that something needs to change a little bit. You realize that you love marketing, which really is the game of getting people to realize who you are and how to get your message out. And what happens from there?
Well, let me tell you the one missing ingredient that when I added to my marketing, or the way that I was going about positioning our courses or our offers. And that is something that I talk about a lot with clients, with anybody who would listen, is I actually started to not to think about money at all. I know, I know when I say that to people, like, stop thinking about money or your revenue goals, they think like I have two heads, right? And they look at me like I have two heads, or I've lost my mind. But that's what really the little change that I made, the little shift that I made in the way that I was looking at marketing, is I stopped thinking about my revenue goals or how much I'm going to sell or what my open rates are in the emails, all of those metrics. And instead, I thought, you know what? The very first day that I decided that I want to put together a training program to sell or start my coaching, that day started from this desire that I wanted to help people. If I just went back to that desire, to that passion that I had, and I just do my best to really get to the core of who are these people that that would need this thing that I want to give to them. How is this going to help them? What's standing in their way? What are they struggling with? What's keeping them up at night? If I just go back to that and think about that, come from like a place of empathy for these people, then maybe I don't really have to worry about my revenue goals. Maybe that will sort of happen all by itself. And I was right about that. When I shifted my focus from money part all the way to the people that I wanted to help, I immediately knew exactly what type of things to put together as far as blog posts go, social media posts, my emails, my offers. And it resonated with people that I was putting in front. It just resonated with them because it was coming from a place of, I'm here to serve you. I know exactly what you need, versus coming from a place of desperation, right? And that's what a lot of people do. They come from that place of, gosh, I need to hit that revenue goal. That's a desperation without really, and there's no drive behind it. There's no passion behind it. So I would say that was a turning point for me in my business.
Hey, thanks for taking a moment to check out this episode of Grow Your Impact, Income, and Influence, the #1 show helping you reach millions. Have you ever thought about building your own webinar or using public speaking to reach your ideal audience? Well, if you'd like my help with it, over the last several years, I have built more than 40 live events for clients just like you. In the last 18 months, I've helped 32 entrepreneurs build their webinar with over $5 million in cumulative sales. If you'd like to see how I can work with you, or if you'd be interested in having me speak at your event or be on your podcast, go to steven.coffee, that's steven.coffee, to book a short call with me and see how we can work together. All right, let's jump back to the episode. Interesting. We're gonna have to unpack that a little bit more. I come from, I believe 100% in authenticity. I always teach people be authentic, but I'm also very big on revenue goals, because I think if you don't put a revenue goal out there, it's very hard. Like a lot of people say, well, I want a 10K month. If you're aiming for a 10K month, you're probably gonna have a 3K month, 4K month. And I do agree with you though. Don't come at it from a place of desperation or lack, because the minute you do that, that's what you're focusing on. That's what you attract, and nobody wants to be there. So let's start with when you started putting out there, I love the fact that you're calling out being authentic and being passionate, because that is, you have to be passionate about what you are doing. And if you're not showing up in that, it is really, really hard. So how did you, my question, this is a place of curiosity for me.
Yes.
How did you make sales if you weren't focused on revenue?
See, I think that's the misconception that a lot of people, when you talk about put yourself out there from a place of serving people or from the empathy, immediately that's a question that I hear a lot as well. Well, what about money? And I get that, right? And I'm not, it's not like you forget about your, obviously we all have expenses and we all have that revenue goal that we need to hit, right? So it's not
Mhm.
about like, oh no, I'm just going to go out there and for free just help people. It's not about that. It's just a shift in focus, shift in the way you see things. I think a lot of gurus out there and a lot of people, they're so focused on like, what type of post can I write so people would, it would get visibility from people, so then they can get interested in me and my offers and come and, buy my stuff. Do you see the problem with this?
Yes,
It's not about them, it's about you. You're like constantly thinking about me, me, me. What can I put on my website? All I'm
that's
saying
not.
is just shift that and think about them. What do they need? What do they want? What are they struggling with? When you do that, you don't have to worry about, what type of things to put in front of them, because all of that is just going to happen, all by itself, because you're going to take the right steps. You're going to do the right steps,
Yeah,
move towards the right step. Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I can think of right off the top of my head when you were saying that, I can think of 3 people who the only thing that they post is so that they can get in people's DMs and then they can try to sell them something, right? And it comes across like my BS meter is pretty attuned because I've been in this. I mean, I've been in the game for almost 10 years. Like I can see where, like, oh, I know what you're doing there. I know what you're trying to do. I know exactly what you're talking about. The people who put the fake stuff on their website,
Yes.
or they try to be more than they are. And they're all coming at a place of manipulation, right?
Yes.
That is different from, I know what you need. I'm focused on what you need and I sell it. That is a very different place. The reason that I think there's the other side of what I hear you saying, which I don't think is what you mean. I see a lot of people say, well, I just want to show up and serve. I just want to help people, because I work with some of the people that are clients are energy healers. They're in like that, like woo space. And they're like, I just want to show up and serve people and I don't need to worry about sales. And I'm like, you definitely need to worry about sales, because if you just show up and serve people, you're doing it for free and you are going to burn out really fast. So but I think what we're aligned on is it's coming from a place of passion, and it's coming from a place of, this is what you need, not what I want to give you, but this is what you need. And that's why I'm here. And if it's a good fit, great, we'll work together. If it's not a good fit, that's okay, because then you're going to attract the people that you really want to work with. And I think that is key. So
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about so the Zig Ziglar quote that comes to mind around what you're saying is, if I show up in service, right? I'm trying to remember the exact quote. If I serve people, I'm going to look up the quote. Hang on.
Help enough people to get what they want so you can get what you want. I think that's what it is. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have anything you want. You can
have everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want. Exactly. And that is true. Yes. Look at that. We put it together. Quote. We did it.
Yay to us.
So my question to you then, following up, when that shifted, when you started doing that instead, did you create a different program? How did your marketing change? Because I think that's the question. I think the people that usually post all of that horrible stuff is because that's what they feel like they have to do to make money. They're driven from desperation. So my question is, when you switched, how did your marketing switch?
So, I mean, at the end of the day, marketing is marketing, right? And to me, the way I see marketing is just a transition where it's a path that you're laying out for your customers, for your prospects, from the moment that you're getting in front of them, where they get to know you, that you exist, all the way where you're leading them down this path where they get to know you more, you build a relationship with them, you build trust with them. And then finally they decide, you know what, this is the right person and I'm going to buy from this person, whatever that is, coaching program, courses, whatever, services. So that, however you do that, some people call it funnel, whatever you want to call it, right? that has to be there. All those pieces have to be there, and you have to do that. There's no, if you want to be online and you want to sell stuff, you have to lay some sort of a path for your prospects to follow. So that doesn't go away. Those pieces doesn't, they don't go away. It's just the way you go through presenting those pieces, those content pieces, the experiences that you're creating for your prospects. That's coming from either a place of, I'm here genuinely to help you, or I'm going to push and shove stuff in front of your face and coerce you to buy from me. That's the only difference, right? In that shift that happens for me, my marketing. And that's what I teach people, to do, or how to approach their marketing.
Okay. So I want to unpack that a little bit more. I want some specifics. Like, I agree, you have to have a funnel when you're online. How do you get people to the funnel if you are coming from the place that you're talking about versus a place of, I'm just going to post a bunch of BS or high pressure tactics? How are you teaching people to be different?
So the very first step that and I mean, we've all heard about, like, define your why. What is your why? And I know we've heard this so, I don't need to like rehash it, but that's truly where I start with everybody. Like, find out your why. What is the reason behind you and your brand and your offers existing? What's that deeper, it has to be beyond money. It has to be beyond, like, I want to work from home or blah, blah, blah. Has to be something really meaningful. What is that? And for everybody, even though on the surface, they might say like, no, I don't know. I don't really have a deep why. It's just like, I'm good at this and I want to sell it. There's always a deeper why. So defining that, right? Because that's going to help you get out of bed every morning and to have that drive to go after what you want. And that why is a lot of times really tied into the people that we want to help, right? Because it ties into what we want to sell, which means it's going to help make someone's life better, right? So by defining, just getting clear on that, then from there, you can create all those content pieces that happens, content experiences that you put out there, right? Whether it is your, just initial attraction that you're putting stuff out there, your, YouTube videos, your social posts, your blog posts, or what have you, whatever it is that you're going to use. It's all coming from that discovery that you did to get to know your why and how that's tied into what you sell and how that helps solve someone's bigger problem or makes their life better. And then you using that information all the way through, like as you're transitioning them from the attraction phase to the next phase, where I call engagement, where you're engaging them with them further, where they get to know you better. Maybe you get them inside your email list, or maybe you bring them into your chat bot, or whatever next, maybe you inside your groups, right? And then from there, you nurture them further. Is it inside your groups that you're nurturing them? Again, it's content experiences. Is it through your, email list, or whatever way that is, all the way to conversion, right? So that's, quote unquote, the funnel that you're using, those content experiences, but it all starts from that very first initial place where you're going deep, understanding who are these people, what do they need, and how can I help serve them?
Okay, so I agree. I think that is the right way to go about attracting people. I want to ask, what is the biggest mistake? Not the people that put out the fake stuff or that try to push too much, but what is the biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to put out stuff around their why? What is, because I think a lot, like there are people out there that you see write like these story posts, or they do like a long rambly Facebook Live or a YouTube video. What do you see as the mistake that people make when expressing their why?
So I would say, there could be so many things in that, right? It's such a complex question, but I would say the top two things to watch out for. Number one, I really believe that there is a balance between like nurturing or serving and selling, and not understanding that balance, right? Like the example you gave about people showing up on Facebook and rambling on and on and on. Well, people are not there. Like, information is everywhere. Like, your audience is not looking for information. They're looking for transformation, right? And your job as the authority, as the go-to expert, is not to throw more information at people. Your job is to help them see things from a different perspective. So when you create these content experiences, you're trying to help them, give them insight, give them those change of perspectives, right? That's how you help them see like there can be a better life by like working with you or buying from you, right? So I think that's like I pointed out too, but it's sort of tied together, right? Like the balance between selling and serving, and also thinking that like information is what people are looking for. So combination of those two, I think, is the biggest mistake a lot of people make.
Okay. That's good. I think I agree with that. What do you say to people? Like, we're going to touch on the sales piece. How do you think people should approach selling? Because I think what I have seen with people that are more heart-centered or more they're why-centered, right? They're scared to ask for the sale and they put it off and they kind of get passive aggressive with it. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're like, you have to buy from me. or they don't ever have that conversation, right? They're just like, I just keep putting out content and nobody buys. What do you think the correct path is?
Well, let me first say this. I personally believe that if you genuinely care about the people that you want to help, then it is up to you. It is not up to them to decide. It is up to you to help them see that working with you or buying from you is going to give them the result that they're looking for, is going to get them to that experience, the better life that they're looking for, right? So if you think about it like that, that if you don't actually take an active role, proactive sort of stance on helping them see or navigating them to buying whatever it is that you're selling, they're going to stay there struggling, right? So coming from that perspective, selling starts from the very first interaction someone has with you, in my opinion, right? Because if you, like you said it perfectly, if you wait too long, you're going to be in the friend zone, right? And you don't want to do that. So it has to happen from the very beginning. There has to be that balance of there is a better life, give them that change of perspective, give them that insight, and show them where that better life can happen, right? By buying from you, by working with you. So it starts from the very, very beginning.
Okay. I like the friend zone analogy. I think that's a good one. I talk a lot about dancing. I think dancing and like how like romance and all of that, like, I think it's a very good parallel. That it's, and a lot of people are really frustrated in marketing the same way they are in relationships. So I like the friend zone analogy. That's good. So last question I have for you, I want to back out just a little bit. And I want to say, what's something that you see either sales gurus or people talking about that you cringe at, and you usually have to tell, like, if somebody comes to you to work with you, you're like, no, you've been doing it wrong. Stop doing that. Start doing this. What is something that you see as bad advice?
I think we touched on this a little bit early on. One of the things that really gets under my skin is so many people in my industry, unfortunately, make it seem like there's just like you're missing like a secret ingredient. You're missing this like secret formula. Or if you sign up for my, I don't know, LinkedIn training, your life is going to be, you're going to be laying on a beach, drinking pina colada, and money's going to flow into your bank account. And it's not the truth, And so all these people putting out these type of promises, these empty promises, they're misleading. They're preying on other people who actually have a shot. They have, something really amazing that a lot of people can benefit from. But because they think, that there is like a secret formula that they don't know about, they're hopping from one strategy to the next, one tactical thing to the next, versus, sticking to one thing till they can see results. So that to me is the biggest disservice that a lot of people in my industry, unfortunately, are, doing to, to people.
I mean, I agree with you. And I think it's also, I mean, it's what sells, right? Like, everybody wants the quick fix. They want the magic bullet. I agree with you. I mean, it's the same thing. I think marketing, I think business is a marathon. I think that it's not a magic bullet. It's a whole bunch of bullets that go in to add up to success, right? Like, I don't necessarily love the bullets analogy, but I think like you need to know how to do a whole bunch of different things. That's the game of entrepreneurship, is you have to have a lot of skills in order to make the thing work. And you can either buy those skills by buying people to work for you, or you need to go learn them But to your point, the thing that sells, especially to like the people getting started, is this is the magic bullet. This will fix everything for you, whether it's Facebook ads or whether it's, Instagram or blah, 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 whatever it is, everybody's grabbing for that.
Yeah.
And it does make me sad, but it's also like, if this is the thing, if you're honest and you say it's a marathon, you're going to attract 1/10 of the people, but the people that you attract will actually be with you for the long run. So I think that is a huge piece. So I know you have a webinar that explains what you do in a little bit more detail. If you guys found this podcast exciting and you thought that we had some really good conversation, tell people a little bit about the webinar that you're offering them.
Absolutely. So this webinar is it's actually the roadmap that I believe everyone who doesn't really understand all the different pieces that goes into marketing should really understand, right? And I touched on it earlier, where if you want to get in front of your prospects the right way and create like correct content experiences, where it just takes, you're taking them by the hand from the initial, where they're getting to know you all the way to converting and to buying from you, you need to have these pieces together, that roadmap together. And the name of the webinar is Roadmap. And that's what I talk about. I unpack that and, all those content experiences, what you should think about, and how to, how to create that for yourself, for your offers, and for your audience.
Awesome. Well, we will link that down below. If you want to check out the Roadmap webinar, it is linked in the show notes. Elliot, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. It has been a blast to talk to you. Last thing I have for you, I want to know your top 2 or 3 books that you think everybody should read.
Top 2, 3. So it's a mix of things. Number one that I've read almost 20 times is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. So I'm all about subconscious mind. I'm all about, coming at it from that perspective. Think and Grow Rich. I know everybody pretty much knows that. I've read that so many times. And a new book that I'm reading, actually, I forgot the name of it, is by Joe Dispenza. And it's all about becoming supernatural. Yes, that's I've read it once and now I'm reading it again. So I'm fascinated by how to tap into your subconscious mind. So I do a lot of that, a lot of those type of books versus like marketing books. Hope nice. I did not disappoint.
No, that Joe Dispenza book that you're talking about, Becoming Supernatural, is a great book. I recommend the audio version. I think the written was a little bit dense and hard to get through. I have both of them, but I think that they are wonderful. Yes. Those are great recommendations. Thank you so much for sharing. You guys, if you want to learn more about the subconscious mind, go check out either Becoming Supernatural or The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Both of those are good reads. Go check out our webinar. Ellie, once again, thank you for coming on. And to everybody else out there, until next time, take action, change lives, and make money. We will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Are you looking to scale your business, but trying to figure out how to get your message across? Well, go to storyselling.how to grab my free course that will show you how to discover everything that you need to build your business through stories. These stories work whether it's in social media, email, or public speaking. There are 5 core stories that you'll learn. You'll be able to use all of them by the time you're done with this course. Again, that is storyselling.how. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to tune in next time.